Hello there, fellow students. I just want to give you this very short video trying to give my sense upon design thinking. As some of you perhaps know, I'm lecturing at a design and business school, and we have been working with design thinking for quite some years. So I have been digging into design thinking for quite some time. And this is just supposed to be, the way I see it. And I know that it is seen in a business context. So it has been a bit streamlined. It has been very firm in its process. But basically, we have designed a 5F model, which is trying to divide the design thinking process into 5 phases, where we're having, firstly, we're having the find phase, we're having the frame phase, we are having the form, fabricate, and fulfill phase. So we're having 5 phases all in all, and I'll try to run quite fast through these 5 phases. This is one of the examples of a design thinking workshop, in fact. But if we look upon what it is, then I guess, as we have discussed earlier on, the main point is that this is a people-first approach. This is an empathic process. This is a process where we are having the stakeholders, which is in the core of the development process. So we need to identify the stakeholders and even perhaps the fringe stakeholders. So it's very much a people-first perspective. If we then should try to run through these 5 phases, then the first phase in our situation is the find phase. That's the phase where we're trying to dig into the user needs. And one of the tools is empathy mapping. And there's lots of other tools. We could do surveys, we can do questionnaires, we can make observations, and so on. But basically, this model is used trying to identify with the potential stakeholders. And what we do is that we try to hear what they say. What do they say about what we're talking about? How do they act? For instance, if they are in a shop, how do they grab, and now I'm within fashion, so how do they grab the clothes? Is it, very firmly, or is it very subtle? Is it a bit, are they a bit shy, or are they very, very motivated, and so on? Then we are digging into what they think, and we have to ask them then, what do you think about sustainable products, for instance? We could ask them, what's most relevant for you when you're buying clothes? And then we could have the feel, and that's very much, again, about observing, because people tend to lie. So again, it's something to do, what are the facial expressions, how is the body language, and so on, when we speak to people. So we can dig into how they, in fact, feel regarding the topic. The next phase, which we are going into, is the framing phase. And that's crucial, because the framing phase is the phase where we're trying to see the topic which we're trying to investigate from another angle. Most of you, and especially an old guy like me, we're having fixed positions. We're having fixed point of views of how things are supposed to be solved and how they're supposed to be understood. But in this situation, we would like to understand properly how could this situation as well be understood, seen from another perspective. One of the tools which we could use is the 5 times why, where we are going in and ask, okay, why are you going to buy a pair of new boots? Oh, it's because I need a pair of new boots. Mm-hmm. Why do you need a pair of new boots? Oh, I need a pair of new boots because it's quite soon becoming winter. Okay, but how come you need new boots? Because it's winter. Oh, it's because my old ones are unfashionable and whatsoever. And then we can continue trying to dig into the motivation. And basically, it's just about posing questions. Why? Another method, which I won't run through, is the reframing laddering technique, which is a bit stronger technique in my opinion, but it's harder to work with as well. But you could dig into that one if you fancy. So now we have identified motivations and so on for the stakeholders. We have tried to understand it a bit better. So now we need to form potential solutions. And obviously, one of the ways could be a simple brainstorm. We could make a mind map or something like that, but we could try to formalize it even a bit more in a Sudoku brainstorming map. And all these letters are supposed to be ideas or hunches or just thoughts which come into our mind. So for instance, if I have the idea A, if we are still sticking to our boots example, then one of the ideas was being, okay, resoling, for instance. And then we go into the A part of the Sudoku. And then we say, okay, resoling. What do we come up with then? Okay, so it's just a way of structuring the brainstorm, just like a mind map. Then we need to start fabricate prototypes. And when we're talking about prototypes, we're definitely talking about prototypes because as you heard previously, we're talking about fail fast, fail often, but always fail forward, right? So we would like to make lots of different prototypes and test them. So fabricate could be, in this situation, just cut out a car and say, okay, how does it look? Or one of the first cash machines, you can see how it's made just by drawing. And then basically the test would be, okay, we're making a new machine. In the text field, there would be stated whatever. What would you do? And then we would try to guide the test persons through the process, right? And we could even do it with Lego, with Post-its, with plastic cups, with dough, with whatever, as you can see here, right? This is an example which from one of the workshops I've been conducting. And then we're having the fulfill perspective, where we are trying to set it up, where we are trying to test our prototype. And this is from an example where we would set up a playground for youngsters. And the idea is that it's still a prototype. So it might be in this situation, you can see it's a hockey field. But we don't go out and buy all the tools for it, all the, I don't know what you call it, but all the fences around the field and so on. No, we're just trying to make a quick and dirty version of it and see whether it falls into the mood of the youngsters in this situation, right? So that basically was my just 9 minutes short introduction to design thinking. And as I said it is just my 5 cents, okay?